Again, we're going to use a ratio table to deal with some of the fractions and percents in the string. And first we have a half of 360. So in the ratio table, all I'm going to do is set up two columns. In the first, it's the amount of 360. In other words, how much of 360 are they asking for? And then in the second column, what number does that turn out to be? So first they're asking for half of 360. I divide 360 by 2 to get 180, and that's my answer. And then they ask, well, what's 50% of 360? And that's the same thing, isn't it? 50% and 1/2 are equivalent. They both give us 180. Now the reason we're actually bringing both of these out is to actually make that connection, that to remind us, oh, fractions, percents, they are interchangeable, and that's going to help us on some of these other problems. 25% of 360. Well, that means I'm cutting 25% of 360 in 4 pieces, and that's going to give me 90. Keep going here. They ask next for 12.5%, which I think also is intimidating, except that here we're really focused on the string. So we might see that 25% divided by 2 is 12.5. Right? That's just cut in 2. So 12.5% has to be 45, which is half of 90, right? Half of 25% is 12.5%, so half of 90 is 45. So if you ask for 12.5%, don't ever forget, it's just going to be half of 25. Those are nicely connected. So next they ask us, what is 1/8 of 360? Well, let's throw 1/4 into the mix, right? 1/4, that's just 25%. They're the same thing. So 1/4 has to be 90. Well, if those are the same thing, right, and I cut 1/4 in half, what do I get? I get 2 smaller pieces, and they're each 1/8, right? 2/8 make a 1/4. And that's half of a 1/4, which means it's also half of 25%. So that also has to be 45. And I love using the ratio table here because then the connection between 12.5 and 1/8 become obvious, right? If 1/8 is a half of a 1/4, and 12.5% is half of 25%, and 25% is equal to 1/4, then these two are equal as well. 1/8 is 12.5%. And to get at that without much of an algorithm, other than just using our intuition, we were able to figure this out. And that's the power of a ratio table.